Hey yo, what is up guys, it's your boy Tway here, and this will be a video of the top 10 best heroes for new players. So if you wonder like, what the hell is happening, what should I do, I don't know what hero to pick, then you gotta watch this video. Now I've got a few segments on where and why I picked these characters, but overall it will be the early game investment, the late game viability, and the overall progression within the game. I'll also be talking about what team you should pick in terms of magical and physical damage. So guess what? These are the characters. End of the video. No, I'm kidding. So these are the characters that, in my opinion, have the lowest investment, highest reward, and I'll be going over each and every one of them individually. So let's start off with my very much number one. Top tier pick. I would say the goddess of the early game would be Annette. Now Annette has a very unique kit that will allow you to get just about anything that you need. If you need a team cleanse, you got it. If you need a team CC resistance, you got it. If you need a team heal, you got it. But there's even more to it. Like once you got her finished up, she has a 250 attack speed increase of the whole team, 250 crit rate increase. So what more do you guys want? Now the main question would be, what is she good in? And I would say due to her investment, she will be good in all world bosses, world boss 1, 2 and 3. She will be good in story mode because you will be needing that cleanse, you will be needing that heal and attack speed. And also I would say she's a very top tier pick in dragons. So in terms of progression, you'll be able to do dragons very early on if you just do get her. Now what is necessary for her to get? Alright, for building Annette is very easy. Get HP, attack speed, crit, and do a 50-50 on crit damage and attack. That way her heals will become very good. Now for the unique treasures, you need to get unique treasure 3. Just a 0-star will suffice. Now with this unique treasure, it's very simple. You can get a 100% uptime onto the CC resistance, 100% uptime onto her own cooldown reduction, which makes her absolutely insane for dragons autoing. Now for her unique weapon, a 0-star would be good enough. Guess what? Then you're done with Annette. Next up, top tier pick, I would say second, maybe third place, it will be Miroru. Reason why I pick her is she has massive, and I mean massive AoE damage. And also she has a lot of CC coming with that. So she will be used for story mode, and guess what? She is one of the biggest problems within PvP. You need like a little bit of investment for her to be good, and you will be using her in story mode, dragons, and PvP. That's about it. Now what do you build on her? Her build is really easy. So what you need to get is attack speed, crit damage, and attack, because she's a main damage dealer. Now one of the tips that I will give to new players is, if you have a high attack ratio character with a high base attack, in this case she's a mechanic, then you would want to pick more crit damage than attack. So what I would suggest is get a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2 crit damage, 1 attack ratio. Alright, as for her unique weapons and unique treasure, get her unique treasure 4. This is her main damaging source. This will also give you the 200 attack speed that you're lacking from the 1400 that you currently have. As for the unique weapon, I would say get it to 3-star maximum. It will be enough to pressure onto PvP, at least to master rank, which is great. And let's move over to the next character. Alright, on to a shared second spot with Miroru, which is actually her equivalent, but then on to magical DPS. It is the Empress of Light, the Queen. It is Artemia, and I kid you not, if I would go magical route, she would hands down would be the best pick for progression, because she excels in so many things. Like obviously, if she does AoE damage like Miroru, you will be doing a lot of damage. As well as if you want to clear dragons, I would dare to say that she is the best dragon clearer of all time. Reason for that, she has a self shield. That means that she doesn't get CC'd by the black dragon. She does not really get one shot by the flying of the dragon. She does an insane amount of damage whenever you have ads with the dragon. So absolutely insane character. Now, she is also used in most of the other content, and I would dare to say she is one of the top tier damage into World Boss 3. She's also used in Vel'Khazar, which is Guild Conquest number 3. Aside from that, I don't think she is as amazing in all of the other content, but she could definitely hold her own. Right, as for her build, it's a little bit different from Miruru's. Now what you'll be looking at is the attack speed. I would say 1300 is more than enough what you need, because you're using a net which will grant you 250, which almost gives you the maximum that is necessary. Now for crit, same thing. Because you have a net, because you have another healer aside from her, you need about 500 crit maximum, because you'll be hitting cap as easy as that. Now the crit and crit damage lines is quite similar to Miruru's. As for one stat that I haven't mentioned yet, which is penetration. Now, the higher defense a boss is, the more penetration will be benefit to killing your enemies. So getting penetration on Artemia is definitely good, because she is meant for world bosses and guild conquest. As for her unique weapon and unique treasure, it's very simple. Get yourself unique treasure 4. This will amplify damage to non-hero enemies. It will be great for dragons. And obviously, her unique weapon, get it at as high start as you possibly could, because this will do the damage. It will be great. Now let's move on to the next character. Guys, watch this. This is one of the biggest secrets onto newer players within the game. This will amplify your damage by so much that you have no idea what just hit you. And I'll show you how. So, Lavril has a unique mechanic that she will be paired with the highest damage dealer. She will be given 300 penetration, which is insane. Her crit damage will be transferred partly to your main damaging dealer. So that means you need to get her on full crit damage. And there's an easy way to get this. So for newer players, this is something that has been introduced, and I will be showing you how. Alrighty guys, so what you're looking at with Lavril is very easy. So if you got the bear up, it means that 15% of Lavril's crit damage will be added to your other character. So the more crit damage that you get, the more damage that your main damage dealer will actually do. Now if you get her unique weapon and a unique treasure 2 on top of that, your damage dealer will be dealing so much damage. Now how can you get this as fast as possible? Now this is where you get it. So if you look at the Clear Repositorium Adventure achievement, you will be getting T2 gear selector options. And guess what? These are 2 option lines, and these are not even the best ones, because after you do it as a new player, you will be getting 4 lines. So that means you can get a full gear of full crit damage. So that is one of the easiest ways to get her very amped up. Moving on to actually 4 of my favorite tanks that I'd like to use early game. That will be Philip, Jane, Claus, and Araxis. Reason for choosing them is very simple. They need a no unique weapon and no unique treasure to actually be viable. Now this doesn't mean that their unique weapons and unique treasures are absolute ass, but since you are trying to focus within this game, if you have characters that you don't have to invest in, that makes it so much smarter to pick characters that you have the lowest investment in to get the highest progression. The reason why I pick these characters is for the attack speed debuff, and for the veterans, they're looking at it like, Jane doesn't have that. I know, but she has probably one of the highest shreds onto magical DPS, as well as one of the highest survivabilities within the game because of her own healing perks. As for gear, now this is different to what I'm telling experienced players. What I'm telling you now is get 700 physical and magical block. Once you got that, you will be surviving everything that you need to get, except for the HP part. Just get enough HP that you need to be rocking with, and if you do have enough with that, get a little bit of physical and magical defense. This way you have yourself a tank that will survive the whole story mode. Once you get later into the game, you will be getting very specific boss sets that you need to make. Alright, For the unique treasures, Philip, definitely good with the UT4. This will allow more survivability of your team. Jane on UT3 will allow your whole team to do so much more damage. Now Claus has a UT1, but I don't even think it's recommended. Now Norox's, his UT2 is actually amazing in terms of survivability as well. Coming in at number 9, and I want to mention this guy, the healing rat, and that is Raphy. He is good everywhere and nowhere, and I'll be explaining why. You don't need his unique weapon, you don't need his unique treasure, and as stated before, if you have somebody that you don't have to invest in, that means that all of your resources can go to another character. That makes him very good. Now, he is great because he has a cleanse, a healing over time, and he regains mana upon the full team. And that's about it. That's all he does. Now, reason why he got into this whole top 10 is very simple. You don't need to invest into him, and there is always a place for a good Raphy. Always. As for building his gear, once again, you cannot go wrong with him. The only thing that you should not be getting is crit rate, because crit does not work on his dot heal. So keep that in mind, guys. Coming in at number 10 is Selene, and I know some of the veterans will be like, why would you in the ass pick her? And guess what? Sit down, I'm gonna talk to you about it. It's very simple. Like, she is probably one of the best single target DPS throughout the whole game. And guess what? You get a starter unique weapon for her. That means that the first resource that you get can actually be used. Now, since she's a best single target DPS dealer, she is good for bossing. She is amazing in Tower of Challenge. And if you get that onto a very high floor, you will be getting a lot of rewards. Now, the weekly or monthly challenging raids also give very good rewards, and for that we still haven't had a damage dealer that really does the trick. Selene, on the other hand, will be able to fill that gap. Same for guild raid. She does about the most damage that you can find early game on, with a low investment and a very high reward. And guess what? You will be using her later into the game as well. As for building your gear, get 0 attack speed, because you will be getting attack speed from her unique weapon and her unique treasure 4. And what you will need is a lot of crit, because on the T5 Dark, you will be lowering your own crit rate by 300, but you will be getting a base crit by 100 as well. So that is 200 minus. Now, if you get a Uno, obviously the crit rate would not be as much of a problem, but it's something to consider. Now, if you are planning on using UT2, which is ignore defense, you obviously don't need penetration. Otherwise, get some lines to just hit the bosses harder. As for the unique treasure that you need to be using is the unique treasure 4. This does damage to enemies, non-hero enemies, and it will grant you the most damage possible. Alrighty, now that we got this done, let's go over to the final part, and that is team composition. Let's start off with the magical damage team. Now, there's 2 tanks that you should be thinking about. One would be Jane, the other one would be Norox's. The other 3 are definitely a necessity within the team. Artemia will be doing all of the damage. They will be amped up by both Annette, who should be healing off enough, and Lavril, who should just be amping Artemia up so much, so there will be no problems onto the rest of the team. Changing it up to a physical damage team. Now, we got Philip as a tank, no discussion about that. High survivability, a lot of amping to physical damage. And we got Miraru for the main damage onto AoE. We also could use Selene instead for the single target DPS. But aside from that, the Annette and Lavril pick are still the same, because the healing is enough, the amping is enough. That means more damage means more clearing of the content. So that is it for the teams. Alrighty guys, that concludes the video of the top 10 best heroes for new players. Now, hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of information and no gaming footage. But do you guys have any additions? Do you guys think one of these picks do not make the list, or do you have any other suggestions? Please let me know, put them into the comments. And for now, Twebby, peace out.